Dun, dun,
Bum, bum,
dun,
bum,
dun,
bum,
dun,
bum, bum,
dun,
bum, bum,
dun,
bum,
dun,
ba,
dun.
da, ba, da,
Tacobelles.
balls. Woo!
Woo! Welcome to episode 57. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, it's awesome, awesome. 57. Isn't that how old you are today?
It is so close. It is so close. So it is my birthday. I am 47. So 47.
Nice.
It's really interesting because my wife is on the phone with a coworker and I'm giving her a hard time because it was like dinner time. So I'm
Hmm.
giving her and her coworker a hard time for being on the phone during my birthday dinner. And she was like, "Oh, I forgot. Happy birthday." And she goes, "Remember, it's going to be a great year because it's a multiple of four." And I'm like,
Awesome.
"Well, except it's not a multiple of four."
Wait, 47 is not a multiple of four?
No. And they were like, "Yeah." One of my daughters was like, "Yeah, you're in your 48th year. That's what they mean." I'm like, "That's not how normal people talk. That's how we talk. But that's not how normal people talk." They're like laughing. And we sit down and like, we do the cake, and the girls are like, "Yay, 47th birthday." And Amy's like, "Yeah, you're 48 now. Yay." I'm like, 47. She's like, "No, you're 48." And the girls like look at her, and I'm like, "Math is hard." And they're like, "Mom, 1975, you had 25 years to get to 2000, add another 20 years,
Hmm.
and then two. That's 47." She's like,
Hmm.
"Wait, I'm only 46?"
Well, I can't laugh because just today I was asked how old I was, and I was like, 46, I think.
Well, Amy thought she was 47, so
Nice. Well, good.
she's clearly 46. So she actually got younger today, so
That
she's
is
very
pretty
happy.
awesome. That's a good birthday present for her.
I know. I'm like, she should enjoy that. So,
Hmm.
and I got these
Awesome.
new fancy Razer headphones.
Oh, I didn't even. I guess you don't have your earbuds in.
I don't. I wanted to try these out. So
Those and the cordless too. You're brave.
they are cordless. I do have a cord where I can plug in, I think, but yeah, they're cordless.
They sound great.
Do they sound all right? It's a little weird having both ears covered for me,
Yeah.
but she was all grumpy because she's like, they're not the most expensive ones and they're not the cheapest ones. And I was like, "Okay." And she goes, "But they're the same price as the expensive ones were 2 months ago."
Well, why didn't she buy you the expensive ones then?
I know. I'm like, "Well, that's how NFTs work." So,
Exactly. Well, not this week.
oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Well, that's something I wasn't sure what you wanted to talk about today. There's tons of stuff to talk about, but
So much, so much,
I
so
think
much.
that one thing I definitely want to make a comment about is that in everything we're doing, I mean, you and I we're good. We're gonna be happy. We're gonna be great no matter what happens. And
Oh
I think
boy.
that we're both playing smart how we're doing things. And I was gonna say but it's not really but, it's an and.
But
This week has been wild. This last the drop and then the extra drop. And
cray cray.
yeah, it's just that there's some L's out there. But one thing, our listeners have heard us say this, that you don't actually lose until you sell.
I was gonna say there's no L's if you don't sell. So,
Although, yeah, I have weird beliefs,
hmm
and I trust my penny to no end. Although sometimes I will ask the same question multiple times because it's something that I really want.
right.
But I talked about selling some of my ETH and buying back in and making a little bit. That was last week. I was talking about
Sure.
that. So this weekend when it started going down again, I was like, you know what? I think this is going to drop a lot further than we're looking at. I've heard a lot of people say it might go back to 1800. I thought that that was a possibility. So not only did I sell all of my MetaMask ETH, I sold all my house ETH as well, which I'm
Oh,
pretty sure I've talked about on here that I had house money that I put into ETH.
yes, yes.
So yes, and I was prepared to buy back in at $200 lower than what I had sold it for, but my penny said tails, so I did not. And it's gone back up to about what I sold it for. But today I was listening to a podcast, and Algorand is something that I already have. It's a small chunk of my portfolio, but
Sure.
I put my house ETH into Algorand today.
Okay.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
And you'll see if that goes up. So I did I'm a pretty big believer whenever it dips to buy the dip, right?
Hmm.
And since I always am playing with money that's extra money, I always have extra money, right? Like
Hmm.
that's kind of the way
Yep.
the way the world works. And if you're sitting there going, "Wait, how do you always have extra money?" That's just how you run things, right? So
Hmm. Yeah.
it's just how I do it. I never spend all my money somewhere. So I always have some extra, but I threw mine at Gala so I could stake it, and I
Nice.
bought the Gala for 17 cents and it's 19.35 right now.
Awesome. That is
So,
super awesome.
and I didn't buy a ton. I just bought 5,000 shares.
But still,
That's $100 in
hmm,
a day.
yep, that's awesome.
I'm like,
I
that's more than 10%.
I hope it's not, but I still think we might see a little bit of a bump
Hmm.
down. So I've personally been waiting a little. Actually, I lie. I guess I did buy some Gala as well.
Yeah.
And I bought something else
Did
this
you buy
weekend.
any
I don't remember.
town? So Gala is
Did not.
if you haven't been following along, Gala is the cryptocurrency. It's an Ethereum too, but it is in support of the Gala network. So Gala
Hmm.
is a gaming company, and they have their own cryptocurrency called Gala. They have their own miners called
Hmm.
founders nodes
Yep.
that mine Gala, for lack of a better word. It
Hmm.
doesn't really mine Gala, but that's in effect what it's doing. And that's the backbone of their whole ecosystem. Now they
Yeah.
have other Ethereum 2 cryptocurrencies like Town, which
Hmm.
is specific to Townstar. And when Kilted and I first started playing, Town money, Town the currency, was twice as much as Gala.
Hmm.
And it was worth twice as much, not just monetarily, but in the ecosystem it counted
Yes.
for twice as much,
For
so
your
it made
levels.
sense. But
Hmm.
now they're the same price, right?
Yep.
So I don't know what Town is today, do you?
Yeah, I just checked. It's 21 cents because I put in my update. I am no longer making almost $300 a day. I am making just over 100,
Just over 100.
but I am still a professional gamer.
You are still a professional? Well, seriously, if you are making $100 a day,
That being said, you do have to actually sell it, which we've talked about. I haven't done. Actually, I went to do that. I actually the money that I made on spores, I
yes.
took that. I put it in my one account. I was going to pull it out, but my bank stuff was all messed up and my login was messed up. So it wasn't letting me take it out. So I put it into something else. I forget.
But still, even if you don't, you're still getting paid.
Yes,
Now, you
yes.
don't know how much you're getting paid. Is it 300 a day? Is it 100 a day? But you're still getting paid.
Well, I can't. Did I say this to you, or did I say this last week on the show that I don't get paid from Wayfair for 3 months?
Right.
So in 3 months, I have no idea what Town Coin is going to be, and it's going to get to a point where I'm going to take it out because with how many, and if it's as anyone who hasn't listened, we'll just run by real quick. But however many levels you are is how many NFTs you can have in your town and get paid for. So
Right.
there's going to be a point where I'm not going to be buying more NFTs, which is basically now, I like to think. But where my levels will keep going up, so I might as well sell that town to have the money or put it
Right.
into a different crypto.
Right. It becomes real money.
Yes. Yeah, because I'm not taking it from my bank account and putting it in there.
Right.
Oh,
Exactly.
I bought NFTs this weekend.
Oh,
I
you
forgot
did.
about that. Well, it goes back to we haven't seen the blow off top because when we were talking about when ETH was going up,
So when you say the
prices were
blow
going
off
down.
top, what do you mean?
Okay, so historically, what happens in the crypto market is there'll be a drop and then it goes up, but then it gets like insane where everything is going up tremendously. And I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it's like I forget where it's like maybe a $700 Bitcoin goes up to like a $3,000 Bitcoin, where it's like multiple X growth. We're on the graph, you can see it where even if you look at the Bitcoin graph, you can see where it's like up, and then it'll go way up and then drop back down. You know,
Okay.
where it's a high or low, but the blow off top is the insane everything. So usually that happens every 4 years.
Okay.
It's been expanding, so a lot of people are thinking it was going to expand into 2022. Usually it kind of happens in like December-ish. Last time I think 2017. Yeah, because it's 13, 17, and then it was supposed to happen now, but it hasn't. So there's a lot of theories about the lengthening cycles. And if you look at the lengthening cycles from when Bitcoin halved to the blow off top, it's getting longer with that happening.
Okay.
So that's like when Jason and I were on and we were talking about $10,000 Ethereum, that goes along with the blow off top. That hasn't happened.
Okay.
Arguably, we're almost into a bear market. Some people would
So
argue we're in a bear market right now.
when you say a blow off top, you're talking about it spiking.
Yes, it's spike. Prices
It's spike.
spike.
Okay.
Yes. So prices are going up like crazy.
Okay.
So when that happens, from what I've heard, I haven't been part of it yet, but it's like everyone is talking about it. Your grandma's talking about it. It's on the news. Everything prices are going up. Tons of people are FOMOing in because they're chasing that because they want their growth as well.
Right.
And then it reaches a point where people are starting to take profits,
Hmm.
and so that's drops the price back down.
Got it. Okay.
And why was I talking about the blow off? Oh, because we were thinking it was gonna, and a lot of people were saying it, and nobody knows. And all we can look at is historically what happened.
Right.
But I wanted to be in a position where I had more ETH ready for the price to go up more. But since the price has come back down, I've started buying some NFTs again because the NFTs are going up. Hopefully,
Right.
I made a move, a couple moves, like almost like what Gary Vee was talking about, where you're buying a higher rarity in a set that hasn't exploded yet. So
Yeah, I remember you
that
talking
a
about
couple
that.
of
Like
them. Yeah.
get something a little bit more rare.
hmm Yeah, I wish I would have now. I guess it wasn't meant to be. There was a lazy lion that was super low and it was a zombie and looked really cool, purple. He was blue and purple, but
Nice.
it was 7 or 8 ETH, but everything around it was a lot higher. We're looking on rarity.tools. If you're in NFTs, it's really cool. If you've never heard of the site, check it out. And but yeah, he was I want to say he was top 30 out of a 10,000 project. 30 is pretty high. But I ended
Right.
up getting a Dapper Dino. I think my Dapper Dino is number 38 or 40, something like that.
Well,
So
that's
that
cool.
that was
And you
that was
probably
pretty
paid
cool.
way less than I paid for it.
I paid probably more than I should have for a Dapper Dino, but I have faith. So, oh wait,
Yeah,
wrong
but
one.
you still probably
Let's
paid
try.
less than I did.
I forget how much you paid. We were all talking. We were just talking about that.
I think
And
it was like something like point 0.6 or something.
no, I paid more than that.
So,
And I got another Fatale with I have two of those already, but with and it's funny because the Fatales have dropped so much. I actually paid the same amount that I paid in the past, but
okay.
for the rarity, 112 was that rarity. So that was kind of cool. Where is it? I was just looking real quick. And number 84. I'm sorry, the Dapper Dino that I got, and it was 1 ETH.
Well, and so that's the other thing I got to remind myself is just because the floor is something doesn't mean that's where my Dapper Dino will sell at.
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like my what do you call it? My bat sold way above the floor.
hmm
So
I think you have some an awesome. Well, we both do, but I'll let you take over because I've been talking a lot. But something awesome that happened to us last week.
I had something awesome happen.
We both did, but you did for sure
Well, I
because you
did for
stayed
sure.
up later than I did.
So let me share my screen. I was just getting this set up for our listeners. So
Awesome.
last week you probably heard us talking. Taco Bell, who did a lot of stuff for us and we've interviewed, did her drop.
I love her
And
drop.
we were begging in the podcast for her to whitelist us, and she did. She whitelisted us. So a little bit before the drop happened, um, she allowed us to purchase all six. So if you look at my screen, so here's the cool part. First off, the actual drop were the maidens. So this is the
hmm
Maiden Voyage Society. They are here on the bottom.
You can find them on OpenSea
You can find them on
and
OpenSea.
Taco Bell's Twitter.
You guys can see my screen, right?
hmm
Tilted.
Yep. Yeah, I can see your screen. Uh,
And then you got a free drop of their environments. So the areas
mhm.
those maiden voyagers are exploring. So here is their environments, which I think are super cool. And
Yes.
here is the maidens, which I think are super cool.
Yeah, they're awesome. They look great. She
If
did a really good job.
if you haven't had a chance, check them out. So Maiden Voyage Society, and there's still a few left. They're going for point one. More than half are already gone, and the Desert Maidens, I think there's just one left.
Yeah, I thought she had said that there was just one Desert Maiden left.
Yeah, and here's the coolest part for those of you playing along is if you buy all six, or you buy real prints. So the real prints are cheaper. So if you're like, oh man, I think those are cool, but I really don't have the money for an NFT, you can buy the actual physical art.
Yes, which is super cool too.
And if you buy the physical art and you buy all six, she'll make you a custom. So either digital or physical. And so you tell her what you want it to be, or you send her a picture of somebody, and she will make this style of the person you want or the thing you want. And I
Yeah,
think that's a shit ton of work, but that is an
that's
awesome little
super
perk.
cool. Now, you have a lot of girls in your life. Which one are you going to pick? Or are you just picking something else? Or is that top
So
secret for right now?
it is not top secret because people don't listen to my podcast.
Oh,
So
there we go.
I am going to I'm going to do two out of the four girls.
Interesting.
Yes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send Taco Bell a picture of Amy and a picture of Ava.
That works out well because they look smart.
And that counts as two of them.
Uh-huh.
So
Awesome.
here's the thing. You've already got either the city maiden or the desert maiden
Mhm.
already look like Brenna,
Yes,
right? So either one is really similar to her. She came home tonight for my birthday. She just left right before we started. So that's awesome. And then Cora Bear, is right in between all of them. So it's hard to say which
yeah.
one she would look like, but
hmm
I thought safe to go with the none of these look like Amy or Ava, so I thought a custom that looked like that
That's
would be
awesome.
worthwhile.
That's
So
super cool.
yeah, I think so too. I think so too. And can you share what are you gonna go with?
Yes, I'm Gina is currently trying to find a picture that she really likes of herself. So
Totally thought you were gonna go with Angel. Totally thought you were going.
I
Yep.
thought about it. But one thing we were talking about, she has some really cool the tree of life pictures and just things around the house and it's something that's really cool and it means a ton to her and it's really cool to me as well being part of that. And so gonna ask Taco Bell to work that in somehow in the background if you're
Nice.
familiar with that. So I think that'll be really cool.
That'll be super cool, I think.
hmm
And I'm I'm sure she can. She's very talented, right?
Yeah, I'm sure Taco Bell's gonna do an awesome job with it. I do need to fill that stuff out.
Yeah, I filled it out and she was like, "Send me the picture." I haven't sent the picture yet, so
She's just laying around waiting.
I know she's just sitting there, right, doing nothing except for waiting for me to send her a picture to
Hmm.
show me. So
But no, that I was, she is a listener to the show, and I am super thankful and appreciative of the of whitelisting us.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, I was so worried that they would sell out. I get so FOMO'd, right?
Hmm.
So I was like so dang worried, but
Well, gas was
turned out
super
okay.
high that day.
It was super high. It was super high, but it
So,
turned out okay.
yes, yes, it did. Yes, it did. And you put it in perspective. I was forgetting that I was getting six, so my gas would be almost 6x, which I was not calculating
Right,
in my
right, right.
mind. And then you had said that, and I was talking to Jamie that night, and I was like, oh, duh.
Yeah.
So,
And we
yeah.
saved money on gas, right? Like
Yes, you're right. You're
it could
right.
have been so much more. I
Hmm.
almost put on Twitter today. So people, if you're listening to this, but I didn't want to screw with people's gas, but I almost put on Twitter today, "Hey, it's my birthday. Give me your um rug pulled NFTs that have gone to zero. I want to make something out of them."
Oh, you should have.
But then I thought, "Oh, I don't want people to spend gas on a
Yeah, that's true.
transfer."
Are
Um,
you to that? Are you getting close to that? You have a great idea with it.
I didn't know, but I thought if people sent them to me, I would start doing stuff and we would start featuring those on the show.
Hmm.
One that's not like that though is my Boss Beauty right now. We talked about that last time.
Hmm.
Is now the floor is at 1.44. So
And
I have made more than an ETH if I sold that Boss Beauty.
that's awesome. And the
Yes,
ETH is still an ETH
an ETH is still an ETH, right?
because, well, this was something that I don't know if it came up, and I know Matt's listened to a few of the shows. I don't know if he listens to every show. If you're listening, Matt, thank you. But I talked about it when I didn't talk him into it, but he's been here with my journey through crypto.
Yeah.
Before I did, and with the VV app and everything, and I'm like, listen, it's going up. You can do what you want, but I would suggest getting some. And he bought one at 4,000. And when it first started going down a little bit, he was kind of worried because he's made some bad investments. And I'm like, listen, if you're to the point where you're going to sell it, just tell me. I'll pay you what you paid for it. I'll give
Yeah.
you I'll give you the 4,000 for it. You give me the ETH because I have faith. And we were playing D&D last night, and he's like, hey. I think he was joking, and he's like, "Oh, is that still open?" I was like, "Heck yeah!"
Heck
Like I didn't
yeah.
even pause. Like I'm not going to do that for everybody, but he's a good friend, and I don't want him to
No.
think that he made a huge. And he's like, he kind of laughed, and he's like, "Man." So,
No,
I,
I mean I bought some of mine. I'm trying to think. I might not. I think I bought some of mine for 4,000,
yeah.
right? And I bought some for 2,900,
Hmm.
right? Now that being said, I bought some from 1,700 a long time
Yeah,
ago, but I've
exactly.
already I've already burned through that. That's in
Hmm.
NFTs for sure.
Yeah,
But honestly, I still think Ethereum's gonna hit 10.
I do too.
So 4,000,
Yeah,
I'm still gonna be
whether
okay.
it's whether it's this summer or the end of the year, we don't know exactly when that's going to be, but I have the
Jason
confidence.
said in our interview with Jason. So if y'all remember the interview with
Hmm.
Jason, he said it might not happen by the end of the year, but in the first quarter, for sure, ETH is going to 10.
For sure.
He said for sure. Now,
People,
here's the funny thing, and Jason, if you're listening, yeah, this is me laughing at you. So you said for sure it's going up there, and now you're like, I need to be cashing out some money.
he did say that. I love Jason. It is.
That's
It's a
Jason.
it's a wild ride. It is such a wild ride.
It is a huge wild ride, right? But that's like Amy said that when it like hit around 3, she's like, are we gonna like sell this? I'm like, nah. And it dropped like down to 25, and she's like, really? And I'm like, nah. I go, I didn't buy this for a short.
Yeah.
If I was gonna do that, I would have sold it in November because I remember I bought a huge chunk in
Yep.
October,
Yep.
and I said I'm only buying it for the month. And at the end of the month, she was like, maybe we should hold it till the end of the year. And I'm like, I'm good with getting
Hmm.
rid of it at the month. I'll take
Yeah.
my 50% and call it good.
Hmm.
And she was like, nope, I think you're right. It's going to 10. Hold on. And so I said,
Yeah.
okay. But if you're like, I'm holding on,
Yeah.
then you've got to hold on. And if it goes down to 1,000, you're holding
Hmm.
on, right?
Yep.
But
Yep.
we're gambling with money we can lose.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's what we've all talked about.
Right. And that's the
Oh,
important thing.
yeah. I don't know how are we doing okay on time? I don't remember
Yeah,
when
we're
we
doing all
started.
right.
Um, so official update, I will not be selling my business.
Oh, did
I
that guy
can't.
get a hold of you?
Yeah, it's yeah. No.
You're not going to fill us in? What did he say when he got a hold of you?
I can't remember what we talked about on here. That's what I'm trying to remember.
That's all right.
Yours and my.
Just jump ahead to where you're at now.
So someone reached out, offering like, oh, blah blah blah. I almost wondered if they were like a spy. It's
Sure.
fine. I gave them some information, this and that. I'll get a hold of you. I can't remember now if it was by the end of the week or by the end of the month. It doesn't really matter. I'll get a hold of
Sure.
you.
Yes.
So it is. I think it's been 3 months.
Yep.
I
Sounds
get an
right.
email last week. Oh, do we want to circle back around to this? And I'm like, okay. And I filled them in on what was going on. I was like, hey, you know, prices have gone up. Prices have gone up for me. Prices have gone up for my wholesale accounts. I've done this. I've done that. I'm
Hmm.
not doing shows anymore. So I just kind of filled him in. I was being honest. And he's like, maybe we should, maybe I'll buy wholesale from you, or we can have a partnership, or maybe I'll buy it. And I'm thinking, well, I don't really need I don't need to wholesale to somebody, especially with the price, what the prices have been happening with my sheets, not knowing what's going to happen with them in the future. I'm not willing to do that. I don't need money for a partnership. Yes, he's got a ton of knowledge. He's got a ton of knowledge and could probably do a lot with it, which is why if he wanted to buy it, like he could probably do a lot with the brand
Sure.
of what I've spent the last 15 years doing. But I don't think he's willing to pay what I would need to walk away from it.
Sure.
But talking to him on, because we talked last week, and he's like, oh, well, I've never, very familiar with peach skin, which are decent sheets. Anyone out there?
Hmm.
And but I mean, they're not my sheets, and I think my sheets are a ton better. And he had some issues with their sheets, and I was like, oh, I thought that you've had our sheets. I'm like, send me your address. Like I'll send you out a set. Like, and I'm sure people are busy and things happen,
Yeah.
but it was 5 days later today, he writes back because he's like, oh, as soon as we get off this call, I'll send you my address. So 5 days later today, he writes back like, oh, I think I'm just going to buy wholesale from you. Is this the price? And I was like, no, that's not the price. I wouldn't be comfortable. And I just told him no.
Yeah.
I said, no, thank you.
Nah. And you were
Yeah.
gonna send him sheets, and he never sent you the address to.
He sent me the address today, but he didn't tell me the size or what he wanted. And I was like, I'm not going to sell you the company, but if you still want some sheets, I'll send you a set.
Did you say that?
I did. But he
Uh,
also said to keep it secret, but I haven't said his name or anything. But
no, no, not at all.
yeah, he
Not
said,
at all.
keep this conversation secret. I'm like, that's fine.
Why would you have to keep it secret? Do you know?
Yes, I can guess. Nothing I would say here because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wouldn't want to, you
Right.
never know what's going to happen in the future, but I will not be selling my company.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I'm glad, I guess.
I mean,
Whatever.
having an empty warehouse with just a bunch of Bitcoin mining machines would be fine, but
Oh yeah, that'd be cool too. That'd be cool too. Right?
so
But
yeah, lots of
people
excitement.
are weird. That's the thing.
Yes.
So
And maybe it was a game. We talked about that. It could have been a thing, but yeah, I don't have time for that. If you're dicking around. And as far as time is concerned, I mean, it's fine.
Yeah, right. Well, that's it. Like, it doesn't cost you anything to hear the guy out.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Exactly. And that's one thing we were talking about.
yeah, and if he has something, great. And if he doesn't, well, okay then.
Hmm. I'm pretty happy. And I don't think adding a wholesale account would make me happier.
Well, and it's interesting because I got a text last week from a guy who owns a whole bunch of duplexes near one of my duplexes. And he texted me out of the blue. I didn't even know he had my number.
Hmm.
I was like, "Hey, I'm interested in your duplex." He goes, why don't you give me a call and we can like see what we can do?" And I texted him back and was like, "I'm not in the market, but I'm always willing to entertain an offer if you have something good." He never wrote back.
Yeah. He's trying to lowball you.
I know. He's like, "Oh, you want to sell this?" I'm like, I don't.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would, right? Like
Hmm. For
if he
sure.
called me up and was like, "Hey, I'll give you 2 or 300 for it," I'd be like, "All right,
Hmm.
right." Now, he probably was thinking, like, Amy was like, "Ooh, you gonna call him?" I'm like, "No." I go, because here's the thing. I go, he probably is looking at that going, "Ooh, I wonder if I can get that for 120, 130."
Hmm.
And she's like, "Well, that's bullshit." And I'm like, "Right." I go, "But
Hmm.
he wants a deal. That's how he wants to make his money."
It's a better offer than your friend gave you, though.
Right, right, for sure, right? But I'm like, that's the thing. I go, that's like real estate investing 101.
And you can't blame him.
No,
Can't
I
blame
go,
anyone.
you call people and you just offer them. And
Hmm.
they teach you, if you call 100 people and you
Hmm.
offer all of them 50% under the worth, one of them is going to take it, and you
Yeah.
turn around and sell it and you made $50,000. You basically made a normal person's year salary
Hmm.
by making 100 phone calls.
Hmm.
So they're like, "It's well worth it. Make 100 phone calls." And
Yeah.
that's what people do. And so she's like, "Are you going to call them?" I'm like, "No, because that's what they teach you." And so I'm just going to tell them right away, "I'll entertain offers, but I'm not in the market." What he
Yeah.
wanted to hear was me say, "Oh, yeah, sure. Let's
Hmm.
talk."
Yeah.
And then he'd be like, "I'll give you 100," thinking that I would come back with 150 and we could barter.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
don't need to sell.
Yeah. One thing I heard, especially in real estate, the deal of the century comes around about once a week. You
Yes.
just got to be looking for it, or make, like you said, making the calls and doing the work.
You just have to
You got
do
to
the
do the
work.
work. Hmm.
The deals are always there and you just got to do the work. And so, like me, I don't want to do the work. I'm
Hmm.
totally content with my life, content with what I've got, and so
Hmm.
I'm happy with that. Whether I
Hmm.
can buy some or not is immaterial to me.
Yeah. Oh, I made the car switch today. It was so awesome.
What car switch?
I'm driving the Honda now.
You are?
I'm driving the '04 Honda Accord, I think. It's awesome. The whole side speed up like the Caprice used to be. It's like it's got a taped up window on one side. It is so
What's he
awesome.
driving?
He's driving the Kia.
So you're letting Tristan drive the Kia and you're driving the Honda.
Hmm.
Okay then. Okay.
Yeah. But I've been putting a ton of miles on the Kia. I just want to live humble for a little bit.
Is he going to put a ton of miles on the Kia?
No, he drives to his girlfriend's and to school.
Oh, how far is that?
Not very far.
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't have a mileage marker for those things in my brain.
No,
So,
I think his school is like 3, 4 miles away, and his girlfriend is maybe 10. Which,
yeah.
even if he drives there, picks her up, and brings her back, and then takes her home and drops off, that's like getting to the warehouse one day.
That's probably true. That's probably true. Well,
And
it's
it's
good
cool.
that
He,
he lives
he's a
humble.
good kid, so he's having fun driving it. It's a nice car for him.
That's awesome. That's
Hmm.
such good fun. Well, we should probably end this episode.
Yes.
Thank you all for joining us. We're going to be interviewing Taco Bell about her drop and how she felt
Oh,
about that.
awesome. This
Um,
week?
I hope so. We were supposed to do it last week,
Yeah.
right? So I'm hoping this week we'll get a chance to interview her. Thank you guys for joining us. It's been awesome. And if you still got cash, buy the dip.
Buy the dip.
You'll be
I think it's
happy.
going to dip more. Not financial advice, but
Yeah.
even now, I think everything's on sale.
Makes no difference.
It
Right now,
doesn't really.
wait and buy
Doesn't
it,
really.
buy it now. You'll still be
Mhm.
happy. So, all right. Well, this is Ballbuster signing off.
Guilty Dragon Jerry, love you all.